What's going on, guys? So this will be a quick video on some of the maintenance that I do on my large format printer. So one thing that I noticed, and it's a little dark here because I kind of got this I got this cardboard sheets on here to try to keep some of the heat in. But one thing I noticed was my belt tension was a little bit loose. This is actually not too bad, but you know, sometimes that might happen with this. I knew my bearing was actually going bad, so I had replaced that bearing yesterday. But one thing that you know, you're not going to see as much of, like on a King Rune or something, is like rust from your bearings. So like this thing's moving, you know, so fast and so much weight and all this other stuff that I find this rust build up often enough. And I haven't replaced the carriage yet, but that'll be probably coming up in the next couple of months, where I'll just replace a set of these carriages. But I'm often, maybe every 3 to 10 prints on this thing, cleaning this rail off and and re-lubing it. So we want to keep that area lubed. And I ended up having kind of an interesting problem here, and I'll show you. So I'm grabbing the grabbing the X-axis, and look in the back, right back there. So when I come, did you hear the click? So there's an audible click, and you can hear it. But what's happening is, in the back here, turn my light on, there is which I guess the more I bring it this way, the more we might be able to actually see it. So right here, there's a messed up spot in the belt. You can kind of see it. It's just a little hard. Let me see if I can get even closer. So there is, yeah. I don't know how to describe it other than just like a compromised part of the belt. I mean, it straight up looks like it got smushed. But the only thing that I can kind of tell is that a lot of the times I like printing things in this front section right here. That way I can easily just get them off. You know, if I put them back there, I've got to reach way in this printer. I mean, it's a 3-foot printer. I'll have to lay down on the bed. I'm not trying to unlevel it and all that other stuff. So, you know, I print them up close, but I've now realized that after, you know, more than a year of, oh, look at that dirtiness I got on my hand. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm cut. After more than a year of operating this, when moving that rail system, you know, this front foot versus the next 2 feet, it's actually really easy and moves really smooth right here, and is rougher further off. Because my thought process was, hey, I'm printing a part, it's going to be about a 1.5 foot by like 2.5 foot tall. So instead of printing it up front here, where that, you know, messed up part of the belt is, I can print it back here. That messed up part of the belt will stay over here, and we can use this area, and it'll use that section of the rail and those sections of the belt. But I noticed it was a little rougher, so that's quite possibly just because the rails might be a little dusty back there. There might be a little bit of junk in there, which would help cause more rust and shit like that, stuff like that. Dang it. But I'm gonna go ahead and rail it. We're gonna lube it. I use this, which, you know, there's probably better stuff out there, but I know this is really good for high-speed abusive bearings for skateboards, so should be pretty good for this stuff too. That's what I use and recommend, and it seems to work really well. So we'll put that back on there, we'll lube all that up, and I'm gonna buy a new belt so that we can replace that and get this thing back to full production. But it's gonna stay running now until that new belt gets here. I can't afford to have this thing down for days. So yeah, it's gonna get back to work. But yeah, I just want to kind of share that real quick. That's some of the maintenance that I'm doing, and eventually we're also gonna have to replace the bed. It's gonna be hard to see, but there are just chunks taken out. Not too big of chunks that I can print over and aren't too big a deal. But yeah, I mean, these cause issues with prints sometimes. It causes the prints to not look as good. So we want to avoid that if possible. That's another reason why we're moving the part somewhere else, because this area has been the most printed area, and clearly we can see that the bed on this one doesn't heat evenly. It heats that spot way too hot, obviously. Yeah, I can't wait to show you the next version. The next version of this printer is so neat. You're gonna really like it, and it's just about done. But I'm not sharing any details until it is. So stay tuned, and we will see you in the next video.